What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin Bees. I am a wife, a mom, a military veteran, a soon-to-be certified personal trainer, and I spent 13 and a half years in multi-level marketing, healed my way out, and now I'm using all my social media platforms to educate and raise awareness around the dangers of multi-level marketing companies and the tactics used by their reps. If you'd like to follow me on social media, I'm the most active on Instagram, so you can check me out there. And yeah, buckle up, guys. This is going to be a wild ride today. If you have not already seen the video prior to this, I definitely suggest you watching that. I'll link that so you guys can check that out. And the first part is Awakened talking about this situation. And if you have no idea what situation I'm referring to, let me give you a brief synopsis. In the last, I don't know, 6 months or so, there were mentions of Awakened, which is a multi-level marketing company, and Q Sciences, also a multi-level marketing company, merging and becoming one company. And we saw Q Sciences promoting Awakend's products on their Instagram, and it was weird, in my opinion. Also, Luna says hi. Okay. So apparently that crumbled, and the video prior to this is Awakened telling their story, their side of it, if you will. And today we're going to hear from Jake Spencer and Sarah Spencer, and the founder of Q Sciences. I have watched this fully. I'm sure that as I was doing cardio earlier, there are parts that I missed, so we're just going to react to it together. My hopes in showing you these videos is that people will, if they're in either of these companies, see them for what they are, pyramid schemes in my opinion, commercial cults in my opinion, and they'll get out. And if you're somebody that's been considering joining either of these companies, maybe watch part 1, if you will, the video prior to this, and then check this video out, come back and watch this, and ask yourself if this is something that you would want to participate in. Anyways, let's watch this together. This video is probably about 30 minutes long. I'm going to have a lot to say because this is a commentary channel. So yeah, anyways, let's go.
We would like to obviously address what, in light of news over the weekend, that we, through a series of events last week and the previous week and then over the weekend, we obviously are no longer moving forward with the Awakened merger.
Now, the interesting part about that is that Awakened, and in my previous video, I provided the document that was sent from Awakened to Q Sciences saying we're no longer moving forward with this. He's posing it, and that's Jake Spencer. Luna's chatting. Can y'all hear her? Anyways, Jake Spencer, I think he's the president or the CEO. I don't remember his exact title, but he's trying to make it seem like they're the ones that made the decision. It doesn't sound to me like they're the ones that made the decision. Sounds to me like Awakened said, we're going to pass. And I'm not going to defend Awakened. I've done several videos on them. Yeah. It's an MLM company.
Yeah, and I think, there was some unfortunate things that happened last night that were, I have to tell you, were surprising to me, were saddening to me, and actually upsetting. And I think I need to tell you, I probably watched that Zoom that went out last night to everybody probably 10 times. And particularly Rodney's narrative of the interactions with Q Sciences going back to December. As I analyze that very carefully, I want to tell you that it's filled, in my opinion, it's filled with shadings of the truth, half-truths, and in some cases, outright untruths. And so, we're in a position where, what do we do? And it's not our style to respond and in many respects, but I think in this case, we have to respond. He's put us in a position where we have to respond. We have to be a little careful how we respond. I think this will end up in litigation. And I will tell you that our attorneys have told us that we should not go through the narrative that he gave last night, point by point, to abut or to comment.
Look at Jake. Just watch his body language. This was something that when I was previewing this earlier, his body language reminds me of like a teenage kid. They got caught doing something and is like, I don't even know how I want to word that. His body language just seems odd to me, like he's trying to not let people see his eyes. I find that really odd, but watch his body language throughout this. And you guys can comment below. Let me know what you think about it. And maybe I'm reading into it or something, but it feels odd to me.
But there are some things that we need to comment on. And so that's why, we're going to take some time here and address some of the things that came out in that Zoom. I think we have to acknowledge the Zoom for what it was. It appeared as if it was a Zoom to Rodney's leaders to give them an update on where they were with respect to the merger. But, because of the way that it turned out and how it was shared and how it was actually sent directly to our people, I think you have to acknowledge it for what it was. And that is, it was an attack on Q Sciences. That's really what it was all about. And because
an attack on Q Sciences. Is what awakened what they're saying? Is it true or is it not? Did they pay over $700,000 partly to Q Sciences debt to whomever, in addition to part of that over $700,000 being money so that they could pay their distributors the commissions? Is that true or is it not true? And if you're wondering what Zoom he's referring to, it's the previous video that I linked earlier. I'll also put it in the video description. That is from Rodney, and I can't remember his wife's name, but they are like the CEOs of Awakened. And the fact that it was sent to everybody from the sounds of it, because these two companies were going to merge. So Awakened just sent it out to the entire email list that included Q Sciences people. And you know what? The people in Q Sciences in any MLM company need to know these types of things, I feel like, about the company that they're participating in. Was it dirty? Maybe. Did they need to know? I think so. That's just my opinion. Let me know what y'all think in the comments.
I believe that to be the case, I think that we have to respond in some respects, and that's what we're here to do at this particular point.
Yeah, and I think that we have to kind of trace back. I think that, all of that was just a very, firm ending. But as Jake and I kind of go back and retrace everything that kind of has happened over the last, I would say 15, 16 months, I think it's maybe important to, tell that story and just kind of remind and maybe rehash a little bit of everything that kind of led up to why we chose to go down the path of even entertaining a merger or a new partner, a new CEO, things like that, and kind of maybe bring that to light. But before we do, I think that as we share everything with you.
Are you sharing everything? Or are you trying to spin this so that you guys don't look like you're in debt and allegedly kicked out of the building because you couldn't pay rent, or selling the house where you were doing leadership retreats? Also, Sarah, how's FFM going? How's that going? I'm going to be bringing that up a couple times throughout this video just because I have questions,
I'll kind of maybe preface it as this, because a lot of times in the financial world, and I will kind of relate it to this, when I sit down with a client, there's always my word against, let's say, their other financial advisors. And sometimes we have the same language, but a lot of times what I've noticed is that it's me saying my truth versus, their other financial advisors saying their truth or even bashing what I'm saying. And whenever I finish a call, and for those of you guys who have worked with me know this, at the end of the day, you guys have to use your own intuition and understand and know what's right for you and what you feel is truth. And when I present...
First of all, how can people that are in Q Sciences know what they feel is true if they don't have all of the information? And what am I referring to? Well, let's go back to last summer, where products were allegedly mislabeled as THC-free. Lab testing showed that that wasn't accurate, right? Let's also go to this AI stuff that they were trying to promote. I just feel like people don't have all of the pieces. And this example she's giving of, listen, hear their story, hear our story, and determine how you feel about it. Well, I'm sure that there's pieces that Awakened is leaving out. I'm sure that there's pieces that Q Sciences are leaving out. So unless all of the information is readily available, how are people supposed to determine how they feel about it? And also choosing to give financial advice when we know what we know about FFM, the financial literacy guidance program that Sarah created, where people have lost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Allegedly, of course.
Things to clients of what I think would be best for their situation. I say, don't listen to me. Get my voice out of your head. Get your other financial, advisor's voice out of your head, and you go home and think about this. Think what they've said and think what I've said, and then I want you to make your own decision about what you feel is best.
Look at Jake. His smugness in all of this really bothers me. You don't want to look at the camera. You don't want people to see your eyes. Jake, why? Have you been caught? And now you're just gonna avoid eye contact, or not even eye contact, but avoid letting people see your eyes. His smugness throughout this, it absolutely drives me crazy. You have people that you're calling your family within this company, and this thing has exploded, like many other situations, in my opinion, when it comes to Q Sciences, and you don't even want to show them your eyes. To me, it feels deceptive.
For you and your family moving forward. And as we relay all this information to you guys, I kind of want to maybe draw you in that way. And I hope that at the end of all of this, you'll hear our heart, you'll hear our vision, but also be able to go home and get all the voices out of your head and just think, okay, what do I feel from all of this is right? And what direction do I want to take moving forward? Because we know what our direction is. It's been the same. We're still moving forward. And so I would really...
You're moving forward, but what are your financials looking like, Sarah? With Q Sciences, not your personal finances. What are the financials looking like in Q Sciences? If we know that last year and the years prior, well, let me back that up. I'll just go with last year. There was a decline in revenue with multi-level marketing. How are Q Sciences financials? Because if what Awakened is saying is not true, wouldn't you just be like, look here, we're doing just fine. Show us the Carfax. I think I said that in the last video.
Really kind of maybe invite you guys all to do that. And hopefully that kind of maybe puts you at ease to where we're not going to come out here and trash or bash. We just want to help explain and help clear up maybe some of those things that you heard. But I think it's important for maybe even me to have a little bit of voice.
Look at Jake's face. It's like nails on the chalkboard to me. I'm going to point it out 1,000,000 times. You have been accused of basically borrowing, however you want to word that, over $700,000 from Awakened. This is the face and the facial expressions that you are showing the people that were trusting you. Unreal.
In this, I don't know what these guys think, because you all know that I didn't have a lot of, I didn't deal with a lot of the day-to-day workings that these gentlemen did. And, you know, their hearts bleed for you guys.
Sarah, you're gonna get emotional about this? I mean, maybe it's just me, but I'm kind of looking at this like Awaken said this, and Q Sciences should be like, this is not accurate. Here's our numbers. Here's this. Here's that. What they are doing is whatever. This is data that would disprove the claims made by Awakened. I don't feel like the emotions and this belief stuff that they're talking about and, oh, it's family. We're talking about numbers. Did this happen or did it not? Oh, we're moving forward. Okay, if that's true, show us the numbers. Because I don't think that's true. And if you're in Q Sciences, this should be a giant red flag. It just makes me question if this person is even genuine or if he's intentionally trying to be deceptive. What is this reaction? No leader that I know would deal with this situation the way that he is in this video. Imagine what he's doing behind the scenes.
I didn't think I'd get emotional, but having these two here, remembering what they did for Q for 12 years and for Jake another 6 years, I just stood in awe. And what could I do? What would I have to offer to come in and do anything to this company? I didn't. And I kind of watched from this outside perspective. And even as a financial perspective, I noticed things changing. And I always told people for years, as we watched the pandemic come in and all the craziness that happened financially because of the pandemic, we noticed things shift. We noticed that there was change. We noticed with people how they did work, how they wanted to work, how they didn't want to work. We noticed all of it. And I always told people that we haven't yet seen the effects, the financial effects of the pandemic yet. You just wait. And I believe that 2023 started opening up some of those things to us as we watched inflation soar. We watched people kind of get exhausted financially. We watched as people turned to maybe different ways to make money. They started being very focused on making money online in different areas, and even trying to take network marketing, which was a very belly to belly industry, to try to transform it and only do it online, or maybe bleed in other social media tactics into it. And so we watched all
Bleed in other social media tactics. What a weird way to explain that. Also, these MLM companies preyed on people in a horrific time, in a time of fear and not knowing if they were going to keep their job, if they lost their job, how are they going to pay to keep food on the table, keep the lights on, keep the heat on, those types of things. And these companies took advantage of people, trying to recruit them and or recruiting them into these pyramid schemes. And the thing that is crazy about this, in this example that she's giving, is if these companies truly helped people the way that they say they do, it would reflect that in the income disclosure statement. It's data, right? Because facts are not a tax. So the data would show, oh yeah, the majority of people are making X, Y, and Z. But what we see on these income disclosure statements are the people at the top with the biggest teams are the ones that make the most money, which is a very small percentage of people. Very, very small. And the thing that's interesting about this is Q Sciences, that's been around for 12 years, does not have an income disclosure statement. So there's no facts, there's no data that backs up any of the claims that the people in this company say, oh, listen, we're changing lives over here. I don't think you are. I think you're hurting people. And I think that if any of what you were saying is true, anybody in that company that's saying they're changing lives for the better, it would reflect that in an income disclosure statement. It would reflect that because the claims that we see online of, time freedom, financial freedom, it would show that. It would make recruiting 10 times easier if that were true. But we know that that's not true because the business model makes it impossible for the majority of people to be successful in these companies. And according to the FTC, most people lose money. In fact, over 99%. So I don't think that's how that works, Sarah.
All of these kind of things happened over 2023. And we had to make decisions, and Jake can chime in as I kind of list some stuff off, of how do we help you guys as a field still get what you want in all of these changing climates and keep your incomes high. And we listened to you. We listened to all the leaders. When people came to us and had concerns about travel costs, we listened and we dumped over $500,000 into our leaders' pockets to incentivize them to travel and go do events, right? We opened up offices, we opened up countries, we launched 20 different products to try to bring out this home line. We did, performance agreements for leaders. You name.
Let's back up. Point number one that I have is you were doing those things to try to increase revenue. You introduce new products because you're trying to get people excited about new products. And if they get excited about it, the first people that buy it are the distributors. Point number one. Point number two, performance contracts. Sarah, I'm so glad that you admitted, this isn't really publicly. Now it is because I'm talking about it on the channel. Performance contracts, AKA bridge contracts. They don't give those to everybody. And the leaders that typically take those, they don't disclose that to their team. No. They just take that money and run. Also, where did the money come from, Sarah? If Q Sciences allegedly was struggling financially, and that's why you were trying to come up with all these revenue generating ideas, how did you have the money to do the performance-based contracts? How does that work?
Name it. We did and poured in. But what we noticed is that still our numbers weren't kind of where we were at. True or not true? They weren't still trending back up like what we had wanted. And we kind of got near our September convention. We kind of fell off. We knew that some leaders were really kind of grasping. We felt it.
And why do you think that was, Sarah? Why do you think that some of the leaders in Q Sciences as of September of last year were going, something seems off? Could it possibly be the fact of, allegedly, let's say it that way, that their products, your products, Sarah, Q Sciences products, were mislabeled? And they were labeled as THC free, but I believe it was a broad spectrum CBD, if I remember correctly, that is known to have a small percentage of THC, and that's kind of how that works. Could it be the lab test that actually showed that it had mostly THC, if I remember correctly? I've done a video on that. You guys can check that out too. Just type in Q Sciences Aaron B's and it'll probably pop right up. I'll see about putting it in the video description as well. But see, here's the thing. If you're not being honest with your quote unquote field, how could they trust you? And if they can't trust you, why are they going to continue to stay in your company? So if leaders were in September thinking, something feels off, I Bet it's because they no longer were trusting what you were saying, from what it sounds like, with good reason.
After the event, we actually had a really big leadership meeting, and we explained a lot of the things that we did and how what we did was not what we can keep doing moving forward, because it wasn't what was moving the needle. In fact, only new recruits and new growth were actually the things that we needed. Pouring money and money and money on top and more products wasn't what was needed. But I remember as my intuition started telling me something was off with our field, and I actually called out to a couple of leaders in October and said, what's going on? What's off? And of course, nothing was told, but then we kind of started feeling, as we watched numbers not be what they were in the last part of the fall, we knew that there was plans and things going on behind the scenes to maybe start looking to make money in different ways, which again, we have to look at everything as kind of this financial perspective and understand, okay, if this is where we're at as a company, we need to make some financial changes. And that's kind of where I got involved, to start looking at things and try to make sense of what to do in this scenario. And there was a lot of things that happened. You know, Mark, bless his heart, he's been running this company for 12 years. And he gave an amazing decade of service to this company. But
what was Mark's salary over the last 10 years, 12 years or so? Let's compare Mark's salary to the distributors on an income disclosure statement from Q Sciences. I'd love to see that.
he also got in an accident in October.
Irrelevant.
And I think it was a big wake-up call for us, because we had to do him the service that we needed to in order to retire him and give him a good retirement that he deserved. And I'll tell you right now, he didn't.
This has nothing to do with the claims made by Awakend. This is an emotional smokescreen, I feel like. She is just trying to make her audience feel sorry. I feel like, again, just my opinion, for the things that they've had to do trying to keep Q Sciences moving forward. As she mentioned, this is really manipulative. It's just business. It should be black and white. It should be data. It should be numbers. But none of this is about numbers. And let me just play devil's advocate here. They probably were advised by their legal team to not go over the numbers and things, but they're not necessarily denying what Awakend has claimed. So I don't know. Let me know what y'all think.
Get that good retirement at the event. And I'll tell you, it was messy. And I want to redo. But we also had to look at ways of, okay, we know where we're at as a company. We have amazing products. We have an amazing comp plan. We need to redesign things, right? We have to try to find something to ignite. And we looked at, again, Jake exhausted himself over a couple of months, which again, he was attacked for. Oh my gosh, you've gone quiet. No, he was working so hard to, again, bring stuff to the table for all of you, for all of our leaders, and to be...
I'm sorry, leaders don't go quiet. When times are tough, leaders speak up. So he may have been busy, but in my opinion, it's no excuse to not communicate with his people that are making all the money for the company, or I guess lack thereof from the sounds of it. There is no excuse for a leader to be so busy that they can't communicate with their team. That's not how that works. And in my opinion, that's not leadership. He has people that, you know, they could have planned videos, they could have planned content ahead of time. No, I'm too busy trying to find options to save this company for you guys. I want to call him Jake the Snake, but I don't want to do Jake the Snake dirty like that. If you know, you know, from WWE back in the day.
Innovative and to bring something else to the table. And at the end of the day, and we don't feel bad for doing this, and this was not wrong. What we did to look for new partners, retire Mark, and kind of redesign and innovate, I can't feel bad for that. And you shouldn't feel bad for us for trying or be mad, right? We did our best effort, and we did come across the Awakend team. And
I've talked about this before, but I feel like these companies look for partners or venture capitalists, or they will, you know, look for a company to to merge with because they are financially in dire straits. This is also reminding me of the lawsuit between Justin Prince and Modair. And as I was reading that lawsuit, another video that I recently have done, and I was going through all the paperwork, and it was mentioning the Zooms where they were trying to come up with how can we turn this around, meaning the financials of Modair, how can we generate revenue? And then they rolled out the recruiting contest. I have a video coming about that here soon. That's what this is reminding me of. This is not leadership, and I'm going to say that over and over again. This is disgusting in my opinion.
We signed NDAs and we started putting things in place, and money was infused into our company, kind of as a good faith, or think of it as like a real estate contract, right? Where earnest money is put down, like, hey, we want to move forward in this direction. And we did. We moved forward with that hope to merge two companies together.
I mean, is it hope or was it a contract? Because again, hope and a contract are they're two very different things. A contract is very black and white. Did you uphold your end of that contract or no? Very black and white. I don't know why I know why the emotional stuff is coming, because that's easy to manipulate people when you're highly emotional about something. We love you guys so much. Yeah, okay. All right, Sarah. Stop it.
They needed us, we needed them. They needed us for certain things and products and what we had and countries, and we needed them for the AI tool or other devices. And that wasn't a wrong thing. Now, as we got into this, we had an exodus of leaders. And
why is that? Why did you have a mass exodus of leaders? Ask yourself that. Maybe journal about it. Sarah, I'm talking to you. Maybe journal about it. Ask yourself why people were leaving.
That's fine. People are entitled to be able to go do things that they want to do. But we had to respond and right size our company. Okay. And a lot of the attacks, and we can go into detail.
Are they attacks or are people sharing the truth of what was happening behind the scenes? They always have to play the victim, I feel like. Oh, we're under attack. Oh, it's the haters online. Oh, it's, they're bullies and this and that. Is it being bullied? Is it an attack, or are they facts? Because facts are not attacks. Sarah, write that down.
As we right-sized our company, we're then looked at as this bad thing. But if people are going to leave and if sales are going to go down, we have to respond as a company to right-size it. And we've done a really good job of doing that. Now, fast forward. And I'm going to let these guys talk about some of these specifics because, again, we're not here to bash or do anything like that. I think a couple of things are normal in business, and what we've been attacked for.
Again, attacked, or are they actually facts? It's a question. I'm not obviously stating that as a fact. I'm asking a question. Are they really attacks, Sarah? Or are people finally speaking out and sharing what it's like behind the scenes? I'm just saying.
Is stuff that's normal. I deal in finances, you guys. 99.9% of the people in the world, they have debt. Businesses have debt too. That's how you function. That's how you work. I mean, you order product and you pick it up and then it's on a net 30 plan, and there's going to be debts involved in a company, right? Moving offices as you decide to downsize, scale, whatever, that's going to be a normal thing inside of a company.
I mean, did you move offices or were you kicked out of the building for not paying rent? Because those are two very different things. Remember, you were trying to say that you were going to be honest here and you were going to, answer the things that Awakend is addressing. You're not answering any of that. Did you move buildings or were you kicked out because you didn't pay rent on the space? Also, if you didn't pay rent and you were kicked out of the building, how on the day, according to the demand letter from Awakend from the previous video, if you were kicked out of the building, how do you have a restock on the same day that you were supposed to vacate from the Awakend offices? How does that work? Because that's kind of weird.
Commissions will hit on you guys. We've never missed a commission. You guys are getting paid. But a lot of these things, I want you to understand, and I'll shut up at this point. I want you to understand some things about money.
Jake, what are you smiling about? What are you being so smug about?
Psychologically, and I always wish I could go back, and I've said this a million times, I wish I could go back and become a psychologist.
Oh,
because
God.
money and problems with money,
Imagine her being a psychologist. Yikes.
it's always tied to psychological factors. And I want you to understand stuff is, and a lot of times there's a mirror, right? And when we have things that go wrong, it's really easy. We do this in relationships too. It's really easy to bounce off the mirror.
Are we talking about relationships, or are we talking about you borrowing over $700,000 from Awakend and allegedly not putting a plan in place to pay them back? What are we talking about here? Are we using fallacies? Yes, we are. By we, I mean them.
Everything where we've messed up and blame somebody else for it, because if we can shadow that and blame somebody else for it, then it takes the spotlight off of us, right, for those things. And I feel like what's been done is that, sorry to say this, but our shit may stink, but there's other people's whose shit stinks too.
Oh, okay. Okay, all right. Listen, yeah, we've done wrong, but there's other people that have done worse. You are really digging yourself deeper into this hole, aren't you? That's wild.
And that's just how it is. Like, debts are on both sides of the table, right? There's issues.
See, but did you borrow money from Awakened? And again, I'm not defending Awakened. I think they're an atrocious company. So if you're in Awakened and you're like, yes, not a fan of your company or any MLM for that matter. But Sarah, did Awakened borrow any money from you? No?
Issues on both sides of the table. Like, nobody is perfect. It can't just be us who has these things. But as we move through this, you guys, and as we are where we're at, I think it's all come together the way it was supposed to. Unfortunately, a really bad Zoom was sent out, which they can address. But moving forward,
I mean, they addressed it. We're still sitting here waiting for you to address it, Sarah, but you're giving all these false equivalence fallacies and, belief and da-da-da-da. This is giving mindset training.
there is a sense of freedom that we do feel through all of it. And so I kind of want you to understand what got us to this point. They're going to go over legally what they can say about being here, but I also want to understand you guys to have a really good vision of where we're going moving forward. So you guys can highlight some of those details.
All right. Well,
Oh, Jake's going to speak instead of, rolling his eyes and, his body language. I don't like it.
first off, I appreciate that. I appreciate you all being on. For those of you guys who have really been around the last couple weeks, especially the leaders as we've been on Zooms, right? We've been very open. Even there was a Zoom with our highest counsel with Rodney and in regard to AI and things that were said on that Zoom about Peter and about their financial situation that just wasn't fair, and it's just wasn't right to say. And so, and we've done our best to right the ship, and I appreciate those leaders who are on that day, but also for our committee members. There's a couple of avenues I want to take very quickly before Mark. The first thing is I've often heard, that science-based companies with a great comp plan, they're just not going to thrive.
At this point, I feel like the anti-MLM movement has gotten so loud that it's undeniable. And in fact, I'm going to say this probably in most of my videos. If you have somebody that's trying to recruit you into one of these MLM companies, all you have to do is go to YouTube and type in the name of the company and then anti-MLM or vice versa. And just watch and listen. I think that what we're seeing here is the collective effort of the anti-MLM movement educating people on what a scam these companies are. And the fact that MLMs are dropping as far as revenue, annual revenue, I think that is incredible. And if you're a part of the movement, which by the way, if you're watching this, if you're commenting, if you share, if you send information to your favorite content creator or creators, you're a part of the movement and you guys are all very valuable. It's very, very important, the work that we do collectively. So I think that's what we're seeing here. And I love that for us. And I love that for them as well.
And that's been thrown around a little bit. And I want to rebuttal that because I'm proud of that. In the last couple of weeks, as we've seen an absorbent amount of products coming into our warehouse and seeing the green light lists grow exponentially, there's people that that need our product, and there's people that believe in it, me being one of them, all of us. In fact, in this very office is where this started in 2017.
Oh, okay. So now we're into the belief of the company. People can get CBD and household products and all of that stuff anywhere else for cheaper too, Jake. So I don't think people need your product. In fact, I don't think anybody needs an MLM product. I think that there are so many dupes that are honest with their labeling and don't hide behind proprietary ingredients or blends and actually label their product accurately, in my opinion.
And I take pride in that. I take pride in the relationships we have with our vendors and the battles we fought together, the agreements that we have. And that's something I'm proud of. And the last couple of weeks, one thing has been real. We're not just a product company that has a comp plan. We have some amazing people in this company, both in our office and in our field, and they deserve everything that we can. You deserve to get this company to where we all know it can actually be.
No, they deserve to know the truth. They deserve to know about the financials in the company that you're asking them to help advertise, represent, if you will, as contractors. They deserve to know what's going on behind the scenes, I guess is how I want to say that. So if you're going to be truthful, let them know what's really going on, Jake, because you're saying a whole lot of nothing here. Sarah here said a whole lot of nothing as well, saying that you're going to answer some of the things that are going on. You haven't answered anything. You're just kind of hiding behind an emotional smokescreen. Oh, and let me also say, belief in a company does not pay people's bills. Hope with a company does not pay people's bills.
Quickly, as Sarah talked about 2023, crazy to think about that year. And the leaders will tell you with many Zooms and collaborating and $500,000 of travel. And we were talking.
And how is that travel? How has that benefited those contractors, those independent contractors, by attending the Q Sciences events? How do they benefit? And I'm asking that because I know I've been to lots of MLM companies in-person events. It's all hype, it's all belief, it's all emotional smoke screens, which is the theme of today's video, I feel like. So how exactly did that translate into them making more money? Oh, because you believed in them more to pour into them financially to get them to these events. These events, based on my own experience, do not help people make more money. It just indoctrinates them to keep them in the company for longer.
Earlier that in 2023, we also spent $250,000 getting international markets to our conventions and their hotels and things because we believed in it. And we just did everything we could.
The only reason you did that is because you were hoping they would go back and start recruiting a bunch of people in the new markets, because it's revenue. It wasn't because you're a good human. It wasn't because, oh, we believe in them. No, you needed them to go back to the new market and recruit a bunch of people because financially this company was on a downward slide. If you're going to lie, at least be good at it, Jake.
And I can speak to what I know, totaling it up in the fall, working with Mark and Sarah and Mark's goals. We also had a vendor who was not in a healthy spot, and we had to help that vendor out. And it put us in a situation where there were back orders. And while that was happening, I was meeting with 16 different opportunities, whether it was a venture capital firm, whether it was someone who just wanted to own a network marketing company, whether it was a partner, whether it was a huge company. And
You didn't tell your people that at the time, though. You just went quiet, like Sarah was talking about earlier. A leader would say, hey, we're having some issues in this department, and I've got a bunch of appointments, a bunch of calls or whatever, trying to figure out how we can increase revenue. Did you tell your leaders that? No, you probably didn't, Jake. That'd be a little too honest, right?
I did it because we've always been asked to look at things. And I did it for one thing. Obviously, networking was key, but what could I find? What could I do to create a new innovative story? As the recession, but also the industry. Last year, it's not a secret that network marketing last year as a whole was down almost 30%. And so I was doing anything I possibly could, not to hurt you, not to hurt my partner, not to hurt my wife. I was doing it for you and me to do what we've always done, to rally. I was attracted to Awakened. I actually still have a lot of respect for many of their people, their executives, and also their field who's reached out over the weekend, just completely not in favor for the way this has gone down. But what attracted me was the story of technology and the ability to have AI and this agreement and to grow and to have an amazing amount of enrollments and to go into September and to have this new technology, this device, this BrainTap device. And
Oh, you mean the BrainTap device that people can get from the BrainTap website and don't have to go through an MLM to get that, which I think is weird in my opinion. I don't think you need that for meditation. You can meditate without that, so feels like a cash grab to me. Remember when Megan Desart was trying to sell that? That was wild. Those are wild times. Do y'all remember that?
we had understandings of bringing this device to our Glendale convention and doing, demos and these things. And none of us can argue the fact the results of both products, they're amazing. There's not enough promoting that could have done it justice. That's not where this has broken down. And so I am the majority owner of Q, but I'm also one of 3 on the board. As we started discussing things the last couple of weeks, we made the decision based on that to do this. Yes, there was money brought in the beginning, and we could have used that money for whatever it was. I mean, that was the week.
Money from what? From when you started to sell the Awakened products? What are you talking about here? Where was the money coming from? It seems so vague to me.
The commissions were due, so okay, this is where the money went. But the rest of the money didn't even go to Q Sciences. It went to our vendors because we were under the impression of a number of revenue or sales from our partners on the Awaken side. So we were trying to get our product ready, store up reserves, and to constitute what we believe to be the revenue. We started selling product at the same time. They started selling our products. We started selling their products. We've even sold products through their merchant account on BrainTap. So to know how this is all going to shake out, we need time. And I promise you we'll get through it. We always will. Will everyone stay in Q because of this? No. Many people have left today.
Shout out to those individuals. If you are in Q Sciences, if you are in Awakened, highly suggest you get out. Cancel your accounts, get away from these companies, get away from MLM companies as a whole. You're going to be so much better off without being a part of them.
And I can't control that. But many people will come to Q over the next little bit because I know the quality of what we offer in people and product. But as far as the contractual agreements and things of what happened last week, in light of us having to get our own agreements, I'll leave that to Mr. Mark Wilson.
Well, there's just been a lot that's happened, and it's been a whirlwind. It's been unfortunate. Roddy talked about reasons why they were attracted to Q, and Jake's talked about reasons why we were attracted to Awaken. And in many respects, on the surface at least, it looked like it was a great fit, and unfortunately, it just hasn't played that way.
Okay, Jake's back to his smug posture, if you will.
A lot said by them in their Zoom last night. One was that they discovered things in February that weren't exactly as was represented, and I'll just be honest, I find that hard to believe, and this is why.
I mean, do you find it hard to believe, or is it not factual? Because I feel like saying, oh, I find it hard to believe is not really admitting if that's true or not. Did you guys hide the debt that you owed to Awakened or not? I mean, it's a very simple question to answer.
Because for the last 2.5 months, all the executives of Awaken have been in our office. And because they've been in our office and because we've been planning.
Jake, why are you smiling? What is this? What is this reaction? I don't understand.
To bring these 2 companies together, we've invited them into every staff meeting. We've shared with them daily sales reports, daily cash balances, daily payments to vendors and amounts. We've shared everything with them in every market, every single day. So it's hard for me to imagine someone saying that they've discovered things that turn their mind about doing this merger, so to speak. But as Jake talked about, the things that were represented by them, we've now come to find out have not been true. In fact, none of them were true.
Oh, okay. So rather than being truthful in answering what Awakened is accusing you of. Now you're going to say, listen, we're telling the truth, they're lying. Okay. I mean, yeah, I guess I could see, we're talking about MLM companies, so I don't think either of them are telling 100% the truth, but wow.
And the last straw was the Genius agreement. We asked to see copies of the licensing agreement months ago, and they would never share a copy of the agreement with us. And now come to find out, we know why. It's because they never did have a signed agreement, and even today don't have a signed agreement. And that was very disturbing, as you might imagine. And so with that information and with information with respect to other things and representations that they made, we last week modified the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding. We sent them a draft, and their response to that draft was the Zoom call that you saw last night. It's unfortunate how that came down. It didn't have to come down that way, but that's a decision that they made, and now we need to move forward.
So last week you made a modification to the MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, after you borrowed $700,000. I just want to make sure I'm understanding that correctly, because that's wild. So you enter an agreement, and allegedly Awakened pays off a bunch of your debt and gives you money to pay commissions, again, allegedly, and then you change the agreement, and then you're surprised when they're like, oh, no, we're not doing this. That's weird to me. What do y'all think?
And that's why we've done what we've done, and that's why we're here today.
Awesome. I don't want this to go all day because it's a very emotional thing, and I'm heartbroken. Disappointed is one thing, but I believe in us. I believe in what we offer, and there will be some rebuild in some areas. But what?
A rebuild in the entire company. It sounds like it. Yikes.
What's made us special is us and the people. And I am proud that we sell health and wellness products. I am proud that we have customers who've been on our products for over a decade, and we deliver those products each and every month. And we're a very large company, and it is our understanding and our attempt to do what's right and to keep our company going. And whether it's still putting on events in Australia next month or June in Salt Lake City, I believe this can.
You're still going to hold events when it appears that y'all are in financial dire straits? That's wild.
Can be something that we'll definitely learn from. And I told my wife today, I just feel bad that I've put you guys in this situation. That's the hardest thing for me, is to know that I have potentially hurt any of you personally, your businesses, your reputation, anything that could be providing for your family. But I will, and I apologize for that. I wish this would have worked out, and hopefully we can come up with some plans the next few days with our announcements with AI and to make this right.
First of all, we are 26 minutes into their video. I know it's a lot longer because of my commentary. That is the first time that anybody has apologized that I can remember from this video. Also, I don't know Jake Spencer personally, but I get the feeling that he yells at people behind the scenes. I could be way off. I'm not stating that as fact. I just get this vibe about him. I'm not sure if anybody feels comfortable sharing, but I just feel like behind the scenes, he's not a very kind person. And again, that's just my opinion, not stating that as fact.
We've had a lot of challenges in the past, and we've overcome every challenge that's faced this company in the last 13 years. And some of them have been sizable. And we've done it together. And that's what we'll do here. We'll go forward positively, we'll go forward with confidence. We need to rally together and have Q become what Q was always intended to be. Q Sciences has a great product line, there's no doubt about that. Q Sciences have dynamic leaders that are very concerned about their people and their field and want them to win, and are willing to make sacrifices to see their win. There's no doubt about that. And together, we can.
I'm not sure what's happening here with the sound. I feel like somebody is unmuted or something, so apologies. I'm not really sure how that can be fixed, but in case you're hearing that, that's on their end.
Go forward. Our future is on our hands, and we got to decide now how we're going to react. And I'm suggesting that we're going to pull together, go forward with confidence, and become everything that we were meant to be.
No, I agree. I think we all have a decision to make. And I would hope and I would pray that everybody decides to stay and build stronger and harder than you ever have before, just to prove something, right? And that's kind of how we feel, is like, I want to come out on the top of all this. You know, Jake and I have had some ups and downs in business over the years.
Look at his face. What a child, in my opinion.
I mean, we've been married for, gosh, a long time now. And I've been in business. I've actually been an entrepreneur.
Sarah, nobody cares. Nobody cares. And also, how is this relevant?
Since 2003. I have not had a W-2 since college. And so I understand the business game. And that's just kind of how it's always been. And I choose to keep building and surviving and moving forward and collaborating. I'm not going to ever, let fear get a hold of me so bad that's going to ruin my income, my family's income, or anything like that. And
I mean, is it fear ruining people's income, or is it the lack of transparency? Is it terrible financial decisions within the C-suite of Q Sciences? Is it terrible marketing choices? What is it? Because it's not fear that's getting in people's way. I mean, maybe you guys, when I say you, I mean, maybe Sarah, you and Jake are fearful that this is the end of the company. And I hope it is. I hope this company plummets quickly. I really, really do. Because then people won't be harmed anymore, in my opinion. I bet that income is dropping. And I bet people are starting to talk. And I bet people are leaving. And I bet people are going to continue to leave as the anti-MLM movement starts to talk about this more and more. I bet that there's going to be people that continue to leave. And I just hope it's the end of this company. I really, really do.
I get that one of the biggest things right now, there's a couple of things that have sunk in because of this, and it's fear and doubt. And you have to look at a track record, I believe. And I get that there's been some bumps over the last...
Oh, we're looking at your track record. Yeah. Which is why I'm making the prediction that I was a few seconds ago.
6 months, but at the end of the day, like, we can get through bumps, right? If we all pull together, and it's just going to be how much as a community, how much as a family can we pull together and rise up and go build stronger than we ever have. You guys, a lot of people think that the grass is greener somewhere else. And I talk to business people all the time. I talk to CPAs, I talk to realtors, real estate agents, commercial real estate agents. Business is down kind of everywhere. People are struggling. They're feeling the heat of the economy, right? But the people who are working, and it was interesting to see.
Here we go with oh no, sales are up. People are still making more money than they ever have. You know what, Sarah? Show us an income disclosure statement, because what you're saying is not true. We all know it.
That as a company, maybe our total numbers have gone down, but for the people who have worked through all of this, their numbers actually have gone up.
Okay, so the people that are not working, like you think they should be working, that are seeing a decrease in their number, that's their fault. Also, what numbers are we talking about? Are we talking about sales? Are we talking about income? Are we talking about gross income, net income? What are we talking about here? Because there's a whole lot of numbers. And if you are somebody that gives financial advice and you are somebody that talks to CPAs all the time, you know that numbers is a very generic thing. What kind of numbers are we talking about? And who? Your top leaders, the people in the top of the pyramid? Oy.
And you noticed all the screenshots that those people were saying that their volumes and their paychecks were higher than what they'd been. And so we can, as a whole, maybe because people are leaving or leaders have decided to do other things, maybe as a whole, as a company, we feel a decline. But for those that are working and will be consistent, your business can only go up right now.
Are you trying to gaslight your people that are seeing a decline in their income, if they even have any? What you might be seeing is or what you might be feeling is a decline in the company. Also, look at Jake. I told y'all I was going to say it a whole bunch. His body language bothers me. It makes me want to rage. He's like a teenage kid They got caught doing something and they're like, oh, I'm just going to act like I'm a tough guy. I'm not saying that that's what he is. I'm just saying that's how his body language is making me feel. I don't know how y'all are feeling, but oh my God.
And for as crazy as it is, if you just focus and get fear and doubt out of your head, am I going to get commissions? Oh my gosh, Rodney mentioned commissions. Am I going to get paid on Friday? Yes, you're going to get paid on Friday. But we all...
What about next Friday? And the Friday after that? And the Friday after that, and that, and that, and that. And what about next month? What about the month after? You know? What's going to happen, Sarah?
have to get together and band together and make Q great again. We all know how to do it. We've all been there before. We can get back to that, but we have to squash out a couple of those things and squash out the negative and the noise and get back on track. And I'm not going to...
I have a personal request because I feel like a lot of these people in these companies talk about noise, and I feel like the loudest noise is the anti-MLM movement. So, you know, I want to encourage, if you feel comfortable, for the anti-MLM movement to get even louder about Q Sciences. And if you're a creator that would like to make some content and would like access to this video, just let me know. I'll send it your way. And the other one from Awakened. We're already very loud as a movement, but I think we should get louder when it comes to Q Sciences and Awakened.
say don't feel those things, because I want to say right now, it's okay to feel everything right now, and that's okay. But at the end of the day, like, we've got to feel it, and we've got to move on. Like, we just have to.
But remember how she was talking at the beginning of this and saying the financial example. Forget about what I said. Forget about your financial advisor. You know, forget all the voices in your head and just ask yourself how you feel. And then here she's like, feel the feelings, but, you know, cut them out, move on. So which is it, Sarah?
Lock arms and have positive conversations with everybody and move forward, because that's what we're going to continue to do.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah. Wish it was on better circumstances, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
It is. It's good.
All right, there'll be some additional communication going out. Also for those people, as we've stopped selling Zenith, Uplift, and Unwind in the cart.
Yeah, why is that? Because in the demand letter, it was demanded that you stop selling it and that you vacate the premises. So
We've not sold BrainTap since we had the issue of connecting the devices. We didn't feel comfortable with it for over a month. But those three
over a month.
Products have been removed from our shopping cart. There were 21 auto ships over the weekend. We got it counted that they were removed out. Those people will be contacted the next 24 hours, either for a replacement product or how they want to actually take care of it. As we do not have those products, they are not our products, so we will not be selling them. That goes on both sides. So thank you for being with us today. I'll be looking for some emails with our new AI product or branding as early as Wednesday.
Okay. All right. So that was Q Science's response to the claims and the demand letter that was sent to them by Awaken. What did y'all think about that? What a mess, right? The girls are fighting. I'm uncomfortable. And Jake's body language, it bothers me. I know I've mentioned it so many times in this video, but it really, really does bother me. Anyways, if you enjoyed today's video, feel free to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. That would be amazing. If you have somebody that is in Q Sciences or Awakened, and you think, you know, maybe they're thinking about getting out, feel free to share this video or any other video about Q Sciences or Awakened by the anti-MLM movement. And if you are quietly watching, you're welcome here. Thank you for watching. I really genuinely hope that you get out of these companies. If you need to do a profit and loss statement, I highly suggest doing that, so that you can see the numbers for yourself, what you're spending versus what you're making, if anything. Yeah, I'd say back it up to an income disclosure statement with Q Sciences, but they don't have one, and neither does Awakened. So there's that. Oh, anyways, thank you guys for being here. I know this was a little bit longer of a video. I appreciate you guys so much. Please do not join an MLM. Don't do that. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.